As you can see, I like to keep my workshop somewhat organised, and I effectively put everything into these plastic containers. Now, the reason why I use plastic containers is because A, they're dirt cheap, and honestly it'd take me twice as long to make one of these, and if you put a dollar value on your time, it's just not worth it. So I buy these in bulk. However, I'm sure you're as guilty as I am, or as everybody else is, that when you want something like self-threading threads, it's always down the bottom, no matter what. Springs, always down the bottom. And you've got to move things, put them aside, they fall on the floor, and you curse and swear and all that. So, to get organised, I decided to make a couple of storage shelves. Now, as you can see, they just slip in there, you pull them out, grab the one, you don't have to move. Oops, you didn't even see that. Pull it out, you don't have to, move the others away, put it back in, and it's in place. Now, as you can see, I've already made two of them. I'm in the process of making the third, which I thought, well, just for posterity, I'll record it. Might give somebody a few ideas. Anywhere that's got a laser sitting in their corner with nothing better to do, might decide to make some of these storage cases or whatever. So what I will probably do now is zip upstairs, get the laser out, put it on the laser, start making a few cuts, and once it's cut out, once I've got a set cut out, I'll bring it down to the workshop here and we'll go through the assembly process. Here we are in SketchUp. As you can see, this is now the large cabinet which I've just selected. I haven't actually, I'm not going to show you how to design it or whatever. That's what it is. That's an X-ray or whatever. Then what I do is I lay it out and 6mm MDF, although I only cut the shelves out of 3mm MDF. That's basically what it looks like. It's in the camera, parallel projection, top-down view. It's really a 2D thing. Then what I would normally do is invoke layout, and I shall continue the next part what I would do in layout. That file would get imported into layout, whereby I set up separate pages for whatever I wanted to print or create a PDF file, because CorelDRAW works from a PDF and SketchUp does not create a good PDF, so I use layout. What I would then do is export it to a PDF, let's just say this container cabinet, export, override it, and as you can see, this is the file you have. And then what we would then do is import this into a CorelDRAW. Yes, it's messy, but that's the way I do it. There might be easier ways, but that's my method. Okay, that's it for this, and next one is CorelDRAW. Here in CorelDRAW, I've actually opened up the file that I've previously set up to process the PDF that I created in layout. This at the moment is one of the shelves. Through here you'll actually see the dimensions of the shelf, which is 340mm by 216mm. It's been set up on a page which is 345 by 220. You've got to set the job up in a page that's a little bit bigger than what the actual job is. To send it to the razor, I hit print, select the Trotec engraver, which at the moment is selected. In preferences, I would actually key in the width and the height of the page that I selected, not the job but the actual page, because that's the page it's going to print to. Down here you select what you want. Well, I'm going to wood. You can set up on paper, plastic, as you can see, a lot of different things like rubber, etc. But anyway, I selected wood. I've selected MDF 3mm, 1E, 1 Charlie, which is 1 engrave, 1 cut. There's different combinations here, like this one might be MDF 6mm, 3 engrave, 0 cut, etc. And as you can see, all the different types of timbers. You go off and you print the current page. It'll bring up this dialog to identify the job itself. You click on that or key in what you need to do. What will happen is this job then gets imported into CorelDRAW. Let's see, let's open this up. And what you would actually do is save this to a file, because laser is in a different room to this. So I'd save it to a file, go off to the laser room, and through a laptop there that controls it, I'd actually print off the file. What you would actually do is, once you load in that room, I would actually load the file, and this gives you a view of what the job looks like. This little button here, establishes the connection to a USB connected laser machine. You click on this, that establishes connection. In here you click, you set up your X, Y and Z coordinates. Press this button here and it'll position the laser at those coordinates, or you can manually set it up. Now once connection has been established, this turns into a play button. You press that and bang, off it goes and starts cutting or engraving or whatever you like. And that's it for the laser. Just a quick shot of the laser in action. Not that it's that interesting, it's no better than watching paint dry. However, there are people that have never seen a laser machine in action. Cutting through 3mm MDF. As you can see, it zips through quite quickly. Probably this piece will take 30 seconds to a minute to do, and that's it. So without further ado, I'll wait till this job finishes and we'll go down to the workshop for the assembly. Okay, after the cutting, as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff here left over. This is just a one set of boxes. There's 7 shelves and the sides. The reason why there's so much waste is that the laser bed is 600 by 300 mil, so I just pre-cut my MDF to that size and just use each sheet, and whenever I need to use scraps or offcuts, well, I use them up. Unfortunately, I've just working on 3 of these boxes, so I've got a lot of wastage and it might take me a while to use it up, but it'll get used. Okay, now off to the workshop again. Hi, here we are in the workshop. I've got the pieces down here. The pieces consist of 2 sides. As you can see, 2 sides, 7 shelves, of which I've marked on their bottom because the shelves tend to be somewhat warped. You'll never see that on the camera, and I'd rather have the camber going up than down, so when you put the weight on it, it'll support it. And also the back, which is cut out of 2 pieces only because the thickness of the depth of my laser, the width of my laser is 300 mil, and both dimensions are greater than 300 mil, so I've just decided to deftly cut it in 2 pieces and do that. So let's set it up for the glue up. I use these brackets to simplify things, to make sure I keep it square and straight. Now make sure that we all have the bum or the bottom going the right way, so let's flip that over this way and that. Now I'm going to glue this one up. However, after that I'm not going to show you too much about the gluing other than putting it together, because by God I'm pretty sure most of you know how to apply glue. I've got super glue in this tube. I bog by it, double it along the edge. Now you'll notice, if I can get it going, oh my God, as always, let's clagged up on me, so I shall clean it up. Nothing goes the way you want it. Bit of super glue there. Now, the one good thing about lasering MDF, it does actually seal the MDF so that it, oops, now this is where it becomes tricky. What I do is I use a couple of clamps on these angles. Make sure I push it right down. One on the other side. Make sure that's flush up against it, that's together, and as you notice this is now popping up, so just a bit of weight on that. That'll hold it down, seal the super glue, and while I could put spritz on it, I'm too tight and I've got other things to do. I'll let this dry for about 5-10 minutes, then come back and continue with it. Okay, I'm back, same day, as I haven't changed my socks yet, so let's see if the glue has dried and we can continue on. Let's take that off. Looks reasonable. Okay, so we grab another side, this time I use the bottom. Let's make sure we've got the orientation right. That will zip in there. Alright, here we go. Bit of glue. Oh, no. Let's slip it around this side, because we need the two on there. Damn, hang on, we'll do it this way so you can actually see the close end of it. Let's go back to where we were. Damn. As you'll notice, this hasn't been rehearsed. Some guy sort of said to me, there's such a thing as a dry run. And I said to him, well, bugger you, pal, I'm not here to make a Academy Award movie, I'm here just to make a video. So, if it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, tough titties. Alright, bit of glue, make sure the B for bottom is up. Dollop of glue. As I was trying to say before, the laser cutting the MDF actually seals the end grain of it, which actually makes it, gives it a very good adhesion for glue. Or when I say, well, glue, especially super glue. God, I've gone a bit overboard. Not that that matters, but I don't want to get it on my clamps. So let's clean that off, move the clamps out to the side so I can at least get my glue, the angles out so I can get my clamps against it. Again, put it into place, grab these clamps to hold it. All this does is just hold it at 90 degrees, nothing more. Not applying pressure, I'm letting gravity do all the work and super glue because it's a good stuff. Now, actually that wasn't all the way down, so let's now adjust, move that up, square it up, tighten it, and oh, the super glue on the other end hasn't dried, got a finger full of it. I'll try not to pick my nose, otherwise I'll finish off this video with my finger up my nose. Okay, simple as that. That's it. Two sides on. We'll come back when the super glue is nearly dry on this side. Okay, be back soon. Okay, I'm back again. The glue has dried. To avoid a bit of trauma, I've put in a couple of these shelves. Make sure you get your ducks in a row and the right angles up. So here we go, adding the super glue to the last two pieces, and it's just a simple case of, like Lego blocks, putting them into the slots. There's only one, well, not one way, but well, theoretically one right way to go, as long as you have the cells pointing the right way. And once they're in place, now we've got to make sure that when the glue dries, they dry in a straight line. So what I've done is I've actually made up this template, which is really a cross-section of the side. As you can see, I've just cut a bit off it. And then I use this piece to align all these pieces. Now, actually if I do it from the top it's much easier. Align it there. I've got two of them. One from this side. And then I get myself a clamp and just very, very lightly clamp that, because if I clamp it too tight it'll start distorting this 3mm MDF. But just clamp it very lightly so it stays vertical. These angle braces make sure it stays vertical. I'll put one on this side, one on the other side, that sort of like evens the weight out. As I said, very lightly, just so it doesn't fall down. That's why I'm sitting there. You know, it's as you can see, it's quite light. And that's it. So again, all these pieces are in. I then, for all it's worth, just put a piece of block on there and maybe some weight. What can I pick? Oh boy. Where is it? Alright, just, no, that's not heavy enough. Tape measure, a couple of these. You know, it's not so much that I need a lot of weight, but just enough to make sure it stays there. Now that should hold. I did use some of the sprits before. I suppose I could get in there and do this to speed it up, but half the time you're just wasting it. Alright, for the sake of the exercise I'll give it a bit of a squirt. Now does it dry? I don't know. I've been a bit generous with the super glue, so it could take a while to dry. Alright, that's probably it. Now if that's dry, you can go on to the next step because of that spritzing. Probably is good enough to dry. Now, what I then do is bring these things down to the side here. That'll keep the top parts level. I don't know whether I'll get away with using the clamps on here. I don't want to use the clamps because any pressure on the clamps, yeah, it's starting to distort the thing, so I won't do that. But what I will do is go a bit crazy with the super glue along the top here. I should turn the camera off. In fact, I might even edit this out because it is a waste of footage and your time watching an old guy put on bloody super glue and then try and separate his fingers afterwards because it's stuffed up. There you are. Oh well, we're nearly there. One more dollop and we've got it. Now that the super glue's on, I'll turn it upside down or whatever. Let's try this base. Now it only goes on one way. When I say goes on one way, whoops. Well, I've got it there, I better make sure this, see, that's why I've got to get rid of this. This goes down the side so I can then actually put the top on. But the whole idea of these are to keep those things the correct distance so I can then slap this little piece on, but more so to align here. Oh, I've got that. Now sometimes, oh look at that, fitting beautifully except for this one and this one. There you are. We've got that. Now that we've got it together, now I can put the clamps on again with just the slightest bit of pressure, because again, as I said, I don't want to start distorting it. That's good enough. This clamp will balance the whole thing. Now there should be enough, come on, should be enough weight in this. All these are keeping it 90 degrees. Sometimes I go, oh hang on, no I won't put anything on there because there's good, there you are, look I'm going overboard with this bloody stuff. Smells good anyway. And that's just about, God it dries, well when you put it on it dries fast. Yeah, that's it, I won't muck about, that should just about do. So I don't need that clamp or that clamp. These little units can be, well not disposed of, used on the next project because I'm sure my hardware is going to multiply and I'll need more of these containers. Oh, aha, you see. Maybe I should have let it dry a bit more because all the spritz does is glue, harden on the outside, not the inside. Yeah. Now I'll leave that on there and gotta watch, make sure that that thing doesn't glue to the thing. Again, just a bit of weight, enough to keep it going. Look, I might even put the clamps back on again and then after about 10-15 minutes come back and put the back on and see how that works. Yep, that goes down there, that goes down there. Little, as I said, very, very gentle pressure. It's a bit wobbly at the moment, but the back will tighten it up. Okay, off for another vino, and I'll be back in half an hour to finish this off, although you won't know how long I'll be because the camera's going to be off. The glue has dried. I've had my vino. Let's put the back on. Now again, I should have probably pre-done this because again, you know, not too many people want to see glue go on. And again, this time I'll keep my mouth shut and that way I can edit this out. Now, okay, the glue has been applied. Hopefully you've come in now. I've got to put on the base. Well, as I said, the base, or the back I should say, comes in two parts because it had to be cut. Now, it is critical which way it goes, but only because of the stupid way I designed it. Like initially, I designed it so that I was going to have 6mm base, the bottom shelf or whatever, but then I realised it's sitting on the bench, I don't need 6mm, so I changed the dimension back to 3mm, but that made the spacing between the bottom shelf and the first shelf a little bit different than the top shelf and that, so there is a way this goes on. Now, let's just hope, look at that, first time, as I said, you know, this laser job, lasering makes it so nice, you know, there's, it's just fits together beautifully. As I say, designed with SketchUp, and it fits together, and that's it. Now this piece, I occasionally have trouble with. You never know, I might be lucky and get it first go. Oh, look at that. Spot on. Geez, you know, must be the luck of the, well, I won't say Irish because I'm Hungarian. But, that's it. So, oh, that's now pulling apart. So let's add, what do we need to add? a clamp, pull that in, yep. Clamp to pull that together. Come on, why won't it? Come together. There. We'll do it this way. Come on. But I'm making a dog's breakfast out of this. Why isn't this going? That's better. That clamp will snug it up. This clamp will do the same. Hammer it down, and what I will do is add some weight to this, and there, and to make sure, oh, here we go, a dumbbell, as I'm often called. Okay, that's that. I could use a bit of spritz, but I need another vino, so I won't do that. I'll go and get another vino. By that time it should be finished, so it doesn't matter if I have too many vinos, and even a dummy like me, if I've had a few to drink, can put containers into the shelf. Anyway, I shall be back. Now, I'm back with the weights and the clamps removed, and we have our box. There you have it. Not only that, I've had my vino, and I'm also going to have tea before I do anything else, and I'm going to have what we here in Aussie call a cheese and Vegemite pie, and it might sound horrible, but by God, it's beautiful. Look at that, a meat pie with a bit of cheese and a bit of Vegemite. Anyway, that's enough of my culinary delights. I shall now move that box into the storeroom after I've had my tea. Okay, here it is. Let's go and take it for a test run. Grab it. Walking to where it's going to live. In here. Up on the shelf. This will do for a time being. Beautiful. And the final thing, here we go. Stuff to fit or whatever. Look at that, beautiful. Grab a few more just to prove that I'm ambidextrous. Voila. 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 And just to prove that I'm multi-talented, here's an empty one. And even that one fits. And for all it's worth, look, I've got these other ones now, admittedly. Actually, I think that's all I've got. These smaller ones. I'm going to be making those for cases for them, but they just fit in there. However, I am going to make cases because, as you can see in the middle there, there's a whole heap of them. So anyway, folks, that's basically it, and I might post a video making cases for these small ones, or I might not. Either way, have a good weekend. Bye. As I may have threatened in one of the other pictures or videos I took, I also made a set of the smaller boxes, as you can see, to hold these small containers. As you can see too, I haven't got solid sides on it, basically because the boxes act as a torsion box, or the cabinet itself, or the little structure, acts like a torsion box and has got quite a bit of strength, so I don't have to totally fill it in, and it gives the screws and everything time to breathe. As you can see there, I've also made another one. And who knows, you know, if I keep adding to my hardware, I've run out of glass space along there, so as you can see, I've got heaps of them. I might just have to make another one of these contraptions and add to it. But anyway, folks, that's it, and I'll catch you in the new year. Bye.